Right. Marks and Spencer's has suspended all online orders as it continues to deal with the fallout from a cyber attack. The retailer first acknowledged a cyber incident, as they called it, on Tuesday after customers began reporting issues over the weekend. Now, M&S has halted all activity on its website and apps, including food and clothing orders, and says it will refund any purchases made last Friday. Following the announcement, the company's shares dropped by 5%. Kevin Curran is Professor of Cybersecurity at Ulster University and joins me now. Hello, Kevin.
Good evening, Rima.
Based on what we know so far then, what's gone on here?
Yeah, Marks and Spencers haven't publicly detailed the nature of the attack, apart from almost a week ago that they had issues. They've only referred to it as a cyber incident. The best guess we have is ransomware, which again encrypts systems again. And because they've taken a number of systems offline, that is something you do when it's a ransomware attack. So it's the most obvious is what we think it is. That in other words, that the payment system itself,
Yeah.
because even tonight you can go to the website and you can browse, which is pretty useless, and you can add things to a card, but you cannot buy. So it's really their payment systems which have been affected again, and people cannot use the click and collect service and gift cards. Everything kind of tied to the payments online.
It's interesting that you say ransomware because so often when we hear these sorts of things, we hear words like data breach or things like that. But when it comes to ransomware specifically, how does that work?
There's gangs out there which generally, in other words, they encrypt systems again. Something goes in, someone clicks on an email, or else they get in through another avenue as well. In other words, that they encrypt the data, and that makes it the systems will not work, and then you have to pay. You have to pay a ransom to be able to, hopefully, if they send you the key, which unlocks the data again, that you can get your systems back online again. But again, it's huge again that over 6,000 ransomware victims last year, but criminal gangs again, and retail is also a prime target because it's got high transaction volumes and valuable customer data like credit card information and personal details as well. And a lot of retail systems around the world have been attacked in manners such as
Yeah.
this. And again, we're speculating at the moment, but it's the number one thing that
Yeah, yeah. We should make that clear. This is speculation at this point because M&S haven't actually said what's happened. At what point do they need to be transparent here, Kevin, with what has gone down?
Well, already they have, because the laws under the European GDPR, you have to notify the Information Commissioner within 72 hours of anything like this. And of course, that they've also let the London Stock Exchange because of course they're listed, and the NCSC, which is the National Cyber Security Centre, again, that they're helping with this incident. And I'm sure they've got the giants in with them again, the Deloittes of this world and others again that help after a major cybersecurity incident again, because of course their stock value has suffered 5% drop,
Yeah.
and again they're losing millions, but by the day really in this case. And of course it's so again that they publicly notified the relevant authorities as well. They're working with whoever they can at the moment, the right people as such, and hopefully they get this, we
Yeah.
get the systems back online as quickly as possible.
Well, it sounds pretty serious because they have fully suspended online orders. Like you say, they're losing millions here. The shares have dropped 5%. What does that, I mean, for a company like that, of that size in the UK, what does that mean for the way that their systems work?
Um, yeah, again, an incident like this serves as a reminder that cybersecurity is no longer just an IT concern, but a core operational risk. We don't know if there's any blame to be had because at the end of the day, they have a budget. They have a finite amount of budget, and of course, you hope that they have the correct systems in place and the correct training given to staff. But unfortunately, it only takes one staff member or one weakness in the entire infrastructure as well, where the hackers get lucky, not even lucky, but I mean, they're well targeted as well because and get in, and then of course it goes across the system as well. But now there is software as well, intrusion detection systems and things again, and you're hoping that you're proactive, that you're able to prevent incidents like this before they happen again with the correct software, of course. And that, again, because there are alerts, of course, on the systems again. That modern systems now, you'll find it with most organizations now. You cannot have laptops and devices like you did years ago. Everything is managed.
Yeah.
And you've noticed that with any organization now, you cannot just install software now. You have to ring up the IT department, and depending on who you are, they may or may not let you install something. And again, because that's why it's a cat and mouse again. Cybersecurity has got so much better than years ago that we don't run our systems now with admin rights as such. But of course, the criminals have also got better and also increased because, of course, the money is online. And of course, jurisdiction again. And a lot of these attacks come from Eastern Europe,
And
unfortunately.
these gangs are ahead of the flaws in the system, aren't they? I'm sure they're the ones who will find the flaw in the system before any company realises that it even exists.
Yeah, that's what we call a 0 day. A 0 day attack is where we don't know about the vulnerability as such. Again, because they do have enormous resources, and a lot of them are actually state sponsored as well. And there's ransomware gangs we know of like Lockbit and Black Cat, of course. And thank goodness, in one way, the payments have dropped to ransomware gangs, which is a good thing, really, because again, if they're not getting payments, there's no model for them as such to do this again, because it's like that's where they make the money. They make the money from the payments, and if we do eradicate the payments, then ransomware would cease to serve a purpose apart from state-sponsored hacking groups. But that's easier said. I mean, but of course, if your systems are fully backed up and you're prepared for this, and you get redundancy and everything else, and a lot of the big organizations do, but again, it's quite harder for smaller organizations again, where every penny matters, and small to medium-sized enterprises again. But it's a curse of the modern age again, and of course, it's come to rise as well. This ransomware, it's come to prominence, and what supports it is cryptocurrencies. Because they generally, if they're done right, you can remain anonymous as long as you're not, you don't have a huge victory.
Yeah, it's just shadowy
Can be
figures
traced.
across the internet somewhere,
Yeah.
stealing this money. But for consumers, just from a consumer angle, Kevin, in all of this, anyone that does have like the M&S app, say, or does have all of their card details and bank details and whatever in those systems, should they be worried?
The one fear from something like this is if the hackers have exfiltrated data, because then the worry is what they do is then obviously they have all the emails for Marks and Spencer's customers over whatever period they're stored. Then you could be at risk of getting emails which are quite highly targeted towards you, and they might have a lot of things that make it look like it's genuine, like your account number from Marks and Spencers, and obviously your name and your address and everything else. And they can tailor very crafty emails to you using that data. And again, many victims many people
Yeah.
could fall for that
So
again. So that's one
sophisticated
worry.
as well. I've seen those phishing emails and they are so, like, they look really legit, Kevin.
They have improved, and especially because of generative AI now, which is really helping
Yeah.
the scammers again write proper, well formatted in grammar in English. So in
Yeah.
other words, that's really helped them, because we would laugh many years ago, and not that long ago actually, at the emails we would get that were
Absolutely. You'd
phishing.
see some right stinkers. You'd think, yeah, you're not scamming anyone with that, looking at those emails. But now, like you say, it's all changed. Kevin Curran, fascinating. Thank you very much for explaining the tech details of this. Professor of Cybersecurity at Ulster University there, talking about Marks and Spencer, who have suspended all online orders. If you were looking to do your big shop online, that is not happening right now as they deal with the fallout from that cyber attack. And as that story moves, and I'm sure it will, you can hear more right here on the BBC. You are listening to 5 Live as we approach midnight. It's Rima in for Stephen.